Bluff City Media presents the Anthony Sain Show on YouTube at Bluff City Media. Stepping up to the microphone is your host, Anthony Sain.
Acknowledge me.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Anthony Sain Show. This, of course, is Anthony Sain. Kenny Stubblefield, my guys across the glass. What's going on with you, Kenny Stubblefield?
My brother, it's a beautiful night.
Man, beautiful.
Hot as all hell, but it's good to be here.
It's stupid hot, man. My head hurting, man. I'm probably slick dehydrated, man. I don't have time for this. I'm too old for this type of heat, man.
Man, we've been in Memphis now you're 43, I'm 42. We've been here for the majority of our lives, and I'm still not used to this nonsense.
No, man, it's that boiling cooked fish hot outside, like on your back somewhere. No grease needed, man. Just put a piece of fish on a plate and watch it cook.
That's it.
Yeah, man, for sure. A lot of stuff going on since the last time we talked. NBA free agency starts today. We air today on a Friday. In a couple hours from when you watch this, NBA free agency is going to be jumping off. You probably have already seen every signing. It's probably already been announced by Adrian Wojnarowski.
Man, come on, man.
That is out of hand how this whole thing is going. Like, what's the point of even talking about tampering if guys can just, if the media guys are breaking, not just I'm hearing so-and-so is connected to so-and-so, or so-and-so has interest in so-and-so. You're hearing, like, contract details. Like,
you saw it with Houston today.
Man, come on, man. We'll talk about that today for sure with free agency on the way. But in a city such as Memphis, that is not the biggest thing. That is not the biggest story since the last time we talked, Kenny Stubblefield. The biggest story since we talked was the commitment, the transfer of Jordan Brown, a 6'10", 6'11"-ish big man from Louisiana. I'm so confused about what school is what school in Louisiana.
Southeast Louisiana, Louisiana Monroe. Which one?
Right, because when I was a kid, there was Southwest Louisiana. That was the Raging Cajuns, and that's this school, right? That's Louisiana University, right?
I don't think so. I mean, is it?
Man, I don't know. He from somewhere in the swamp. He from somewhere down there in Louisiana. I don't know what school. One of them, because I thought he went to the same school that Junior Lofton went to, but it's not.
No, it's not the same one that Junior went to.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, he's from Louisiana, but not LSU. So one of the other schools, he's from one of them. Very tall, skilled, big. I'm gonna tell you who he gives me shades of.
Bro, when you told me this, I lost my mind.
I had to age myself a little bit. He reminds me of another big in that 6'10", 6'11", traditional back to the basket type big.
Breaking news: it is the Raging Cajuns.
Okay, so it's Southwest. This is the old Southwest.
Is the old
Louisiana.
Southwest.
All right.
Louisiana. Yeah.
All right, so Southeast, one of them.
Southeast.
One of the directional schools. Yeah. He reminds me of Kelly Wise. For sure. I definitely see a lot of his game in there. Maybe from the unkemptness of it all.
No, 100%.
That might play into it. Kelly Wise kind of had a scraggly look. That might be it.
Did you see Devin Walker's tweet?
Yeah, man, I saw that.
Called that man Don Tripp.
Yeah, come on. But anyway, Jordan Brown, super exciting. I think he's like a 20-point, how many rebounds?
19 and 8.
Yeah, man. Like, that's what Penny needs for sure.
2 blocks a game, just a beast.
Yep. And even with Jalen Duren, who was a one and done pro, a guy who's really doing his thing in the NBA too. This is probably the most skilled, like back to the basket, old school big, without a doubt. I mean, Wiseman.
Well, we didn't see Wiseman, right?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't see Wiseman much. But no, I mean, I think James could have been as skilled. James's skill set was really his ability to run the floor.
His athleticism.
Yeah. He was wild, 7'1".
Yeah.
Athleticism. But in terms of what we grew up watching, back to the basket, over both shoulder hooks.
Lorenzen Wright.
Yeah.
David Vaughn. Yeah.
Kelly Wise.
Yeah.
This is the best, most skilled big man he's had since he's been at Memphis.
Yeah, man, for sure. I'm excited to see him there. Big signing, man. People can say what you want. When you get a guy at that level, it just raises the floor of this team. You know what I mean? For sure.
Just to give you a quick little glimpse into this thing, like, people talk about right now, like where they're at in the transfer portal, the time, the date, all that kind of stuff, that he's the best you could get. The number one big man that came into the transfer portal this summer was a guy named Khalil Ware, who played for Oregon. He's a projected lottery pick. He's this, that, and the third. Averaged 5 points last year.
Oh, wow. Was not aware of that at all.
And this guy, so my theory on it is no matter when Jordan entered the portal, he's the best big the portal has seen so far this year.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think he is too. I'm really excited about him getting there. Also, in other news, not particularly news, but the temperature feels like another player could be coming to Memphis soon. Jahvon Quinerly, a 29-year-old. No, I'm just playing. He's about 24 years old. Little known fact to me until last night, Kenny Stubblefield. I hopped on my phone, and YouTube's algorithm sometimes, and there's a video from this guy. He does these videos called Stunted Growth.
Right.
And he talks about guys who had potential, could have made it, didn't make it, those type of things. And he had a video about Jahvon Quinerly, did launched last night, and it talked about him transferring again. I did not know that Jahvon Quinerly was a key member of the Jelly Fam. Kenny Stubblefield, are you familiar with the Jelly Fam?
1,000% New York City, baby.
Yeah, Jahvon Quinerly is a member of Jelly Fam. His Nas Reed, one of his members of Jelly Fam, just got paid the other day. Was set up to get paid in free agency. I'm gonna count him in the fold. I'm gonna call him a Tiger.
Yep.
Go Tigers, go. I'm gonna add him to the fold. I think it's between us and maybe Miami or some other schools or something like that. Stuff I've heard.
Right.
I think if you add a guy like Jordan Brown, you add a guard like Jahvon Quinerly, who at one point was one of the top point guards in the country, had some injuries.
5-star. Yep.
Yeah, had injuries, those type of things. Probably made some bad decisions as far as transferring or picking his original school.
Well, he went to Villanova, transferred to Alabama, played 3 years. He got over-recruited at Alabama last year. That's why I think he's transferring. He was the guy for the first 2 years he was there. Mm-hmm. Then last year they bring in the transfer portal Mark Spears, played for, Toledo maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. And then they brought in Jaden Bradley, the 5-star freshman from IMG. Mm-hmm. And it was clear to me that Nate Oates, the coach at Alabama, decided that he wanted Mark Spears and Jaden Bradley to run his team. And Jahvon played, but his minutes dipped, and you saw a little dip in his numbers. But nothing has changed in his game in terms of how good he is. He just got over-recruited a little bit.
Yeah. There's some people that say that he hasn't been the same since the injury that he had. I can't remember what injury it was, but some people have said he hasn't been the same since then. But I'll say this, man. If you've got 80, 90% of that kid, it's better than your alternatives that you had on this roster.
100%.
You get a top-tier lead guard in Quinerly. I'm going to claim it. I'm going to go ahead and say, and by the time this show airs, we may know that he is a Tiger. I mean, who knows? You got Jordan Brown. You got this entire cast of guys that Penny has brought in over this offseason. I'm going to say that that's a hell of a team that Penny is putting together. And I'll ask this question, Kenny. You talk to the analysts. I'm watching this show yesterday with, I can't think of the name of the publication, but John Martin produces for them as well. He does.
Field of 68.
Yeah, Field of 68, that's right. And I don't know who this guy is. Some bald-head ass Lex Luthor-looking mug was on there. I don't know who this dude is. I don't really know a lot of the college basketball guys. But he's like
some petty ass dudes.
Yeah, man. Like they're like taking shots at Memphis, and Jordan Brown, he's fine, whatever. And I'm like, man, come on, man. Like, stop, bro. You know what I mean? Like, that team that Penny's putting together is gonna be good. And they started talking about FAU, and they're not nearly as good as FAU. And I'll just say this, man. I just call bullshit on the whole thing. Cause I'm like, bro, I watched Memphis play FAU. Memphis had that game won. And if Memphis had beaten that team like they should have in the NCAA tournament, no one in the world would be saying that this FAU team is, especially not leaps and bounds better. And they wouldn't be saying that they're better at all. I know a lot of people are excited about FAU. I'm not going to say that they had a fluke run, but that's not something I don't think you should expect that same level of end of season production from FAU. I think this Memphis roster is better than theirs is, and I think that Memphis will be the best team in the new look AAC.
Well, I mean, you think about this FAU team, and they've built it around a badass backcourt. Mm-hmm. They got this kid named John L. Davis and Elijah Martin. They got a couple of other guys who can shoot, who can dribble, who can get to the basket. Their front court, not very good. They've got a one big, like, Russian 7'1" kid, but
it doesn't really play a lot.
Doesn't really do much. But they're a tough team, man. Like, they went 34-3 last year.
Yeah, they're good now, but I'm just saying, don't act like
right.
You know what I mean? 'Cause we had that team beat. We had the team beat in the first game in the NCAA tournament.
And to be real with you, man, being in the arena when that game was going on,
look at you, status dropping, man.
Memphis. That was the worst they played all year. That was the worst game they had all year. It was terrible how badly they played.
Right.
And so you think about it, and that game hinged so much because Memphis had the chance. You know, Fairleigh Dickinson had just beat Purdue 1-16 right before that game, and I'm sitting there underneath the belly of the arena with Christian Fowler on the bluff, and we're sitting there going, we got to go to New York next weekend because that's a Sweet 16, and they're going to play Tennessee next weekend because nobody thought FAU was about to beat Memphis in that game, especially the way that Memphis had come out from the AAC tournament, man. They played like one of the top teams in the country in that tournament.
Right.
And then just went out and completely laid an egg, and it took some real suspect referee calls and horseshit play by the Tigers for FAU to beat them at the buzzer.
Yeah, don't do that, man. Don't act like these dudes just on another level, man. Because this team that Penny already put together, I will say this: as far as like star power and like known name power, this isn't the best team. But if you're talking about 1 through 10 depth on this team, this is Penny Hardaway's best team. Now, there's no James Wiseman, there's no Precious Achiuwa, there's no Jalen Duren, there's no Kendrick Davis. But this team,
there's no Imani Bates.
There's no Imani Bates. This team is talented. It's almost a perfect mix of older guys that were good, productive guys in college basketball, plus guys who are not as old but are good, who've been around long enough to you're not worried about what they do. You know that they can come in and play a role and do something on this team. There were a lot of guys in years past that lowered the floor of how bad this team could be because they just weren't that good of players. And I'll be honest with you, man. I'm the type of person who I'm a Grizzly fan because I grew up being a Tiger fan, which is the story for most people my age. But my give a damn itness about Tiger basketball has depleted over the years for several reasons. But I'm here making a bold confession, Kenny Stubblefield. This is the first time I've really been engaged, like I care about what's really going on with Tiger basketball in a very long time. The Wiseman class was the last time. But that when I actually saw that team, I was like, this is a bunch of kids. They don't know what they're doing. And I was out.
Yep.
I am confident because everybody was talking about last year's team. You had Kendrick Davis. You had Deandre Williams, two of the better players in the conference, one of the better point guards in the country, one of the better bigs in the country, hybrid bigs and Deandre Williams. That team, that was a running joke I had. As you know, I go on Jason and John's show every Friday for 11:25 a.m. There was a running joke where I called last year's Memphis team the best sorry team in the country. and to me, they were, man. I was like, okay, they're going to be fine because they're old. They're older. They got guys that can play defense. You got a hell of a lead guard. You got a hell of a big that you can go play two-man game with. Those two guys alone, you're only going to be so bad. But they weren't a very talented team.
They're extremely, extremely top-heavy.
Yeah, and there weren't a lot of guys on that team that I really thought were just good guys that you could trust in the end of the game who make plays. This Tiger team is talented, man. Just keeping an eye on the guys that I've seen them bring in, where they came from, the type of guys they were. This is a talented team, man. But I'll say this, Kenny. There is one thing that I am just a twinge concerned about, and I'll share that with you now. There's a name that we've mentioned a lot, but never mentioned with this team in this segment, and that person is Deandre Williams. Deandre Williams, of course, kind of found out he may have had a possibility to get more eligibility, that he might have had some eligibility left. If you are a fan of Bluff City Media, you've heard that on every show. It's been a big topic with Deandre Williams. This is the dilemma. We've all been excited about Jordan Brown. We've all excited about the possibility of Jahvon Quinerly. who I think is probably the third best player on this team, is David Jones, a combo forward.
Yeah, man.
He played power forward last year, probably more of a 3 than a 4, but he can definitely play the 4, and we've seen this. Want to say he's around a 14, 15 point per game score?
Yeah, 6'6", big body.
Yeah, strong guy, can rebound, all those type of things.
Left-handed. Yeah, he can do his thing, man.
A lot of people have said that he does a lot of things that Deandre Williams does. And he's kind of in the Deandre Williams mold. My question is not about David Jones, because I think if you get Deandre Williams on this team, you could slide Jones down to be a jumbo small forward, stronger 4-3 type.
That would be the ideal spot for him.
Right. But if that happens, you've also got this kid, Teofall Leonard, who's a super athletic. People call this kid a possible, draft prospect type of kid, mega athletic, defender, guy who, like I said, a draft prospect.
Long,
quick. All that. Not much of a shooter, but just one of those energy guys who you definitely had penciled in as your small forward before the DeAndre Williams stuff came up. And that's the only thing I think that could be a possible problem for Penny, is dealing with that. And I'll throw this out to you, Kenny. You tell me what you think. I threw this into the world-famous Discord chat of Bluff City Media that you can also be a part of for the low price of $9.99. Is that correct?
That's $5 a month.
What?
Yeah.
I thought it was $9.99. Look at it.
$5.
Look at me throwing out fake numbers, acting like I was surprised.
It's a cup of coffee at Starbucks, baby.
Right. For the price of a 5 for $5 at whatever, Wendy's, whatever they call it. The biggie bag.
The biggie bag.
4 for $5. No, but seriously. I talked about this in the chat, and I threw this out. Would it be... Let's say I'm DeAndre Williams. And I'll say this. I think if you get DeAndre Williams and he starts at power forward, the Teofall Leonard situation gets sketchy. Because he's a guy who I think came here to start, right? Now, I'm not going to say he should have priority over, definitely over DeAndre. He shouldn't have priority over, even David Jones. But I think that he does see himself as a starter on this team. And I'll throw this out to you. I'll throw this out to the listeners. You guys tell me what you think. If I'm DeAndre Williams and I've played a long, illustrious college career that spanned decades, he saw Danny Manning play at Kansas. No, I'm just playing. He's been in college basketball for a while. If you feel like the NBA route isn't happening, which I'm sure DeAndre Williams probably feels, because by the time he comes out of college this year, he would be, if he played one more year, he would be 28. Am I not mistaken? Going into the draft.
I don't know exactly when his birthday is, but 27 or 28.
Right. I think that dream may be over as far as being an NBA player. You're going to make a ton of money in NIL regardless. And you'll probably, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to live in Memphis or go back home wherever he's from, and I'm sure he'll be fine. Do you think DeAndre Williams cares if he starts or not on this team? And how well suited would he be if he didn't start for this team? Just throwing something out. If it sounds dumb, that's fine. I'm throwing it out to you, Kenny, and I'm throwing it out to the people.
Well,
because it would solve a lot of it would solve a lot of chemistry issues that could be there. Then you could bring him in as your 5, as your 4, play him with Nick Jourdain, whatever you're doing. I'm just throwing it out there to you. Do you think he really cares at this point of his career?
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously in the time that I've had the chance to talk to DeAndre, he's a team guy. He loves Memphis. That's why, you saw it in his statement that he gave about, going after that another year of eligibility is, man, just the honor of being able to put on the Tiger uniform means a lot to him. Penny Hardaway means a lot to him. I would say this. Would he care about not starting? If I know DeAndre, probably not. But if Penny Hardaway is smart, you start DeAndre Williams. You play DeAndre and you play Jordan Brown together, and you roll out literally one of the top 2 or 3 front courts in the entire country.
Oh, man. Man, that could be so good.
And so I think that you talk about the chemistry issues, and you look at a guy like TFL Leonard and you say, listen, man, it is, yes, you are starter level. Mm-hmm. You have a chance to be a major contributor off the bench, one of the top 1-2 guys off the bench, to come in and play multiple positions. You could bring him in at the 3 and give David Jones a spell. You could bring him in at the 2 and bring let Caleb Mills scoot over to the 1. You could do a lot of different things with him and roll out a 6'6", 6'7", 6'6",
uber athletic,
6'9", 7 foot lineup and ball people out the gym. And so you look at TFL Leonard and you say, hey, man, you're here. We've got to give DeAndre a shot to come back. We're going to run that route. We're going to go and do that. We're going to try to figure out what that looks like. This team, with you coming off the bench, could win a natty, bro.
Right.
So what's more important to you, getting starter minutes or winning a natty?
Can I be TFL Leonard in this situation?
Do it.
I'm going to say, Coach P, I appreciate you. I love you, man. I wore the phone posits. My parents did too. That sounds good. That sounds great. But yeah, I'm a pro prospect, man. And like,
I get that.
Deandre Williams is 30.
Yeah. No, it makes
you know
sense.
what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or does he really? Because all these guys at one point thought they were going to go pro. I remember when Malcolm Dandridge was saying, "Well, no, I might be one and done, but 2 or 3 years, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
These dudes all think Boogie Ellis, Lester Quinerly clowned Grant Williams about
his shooting.
No. He clowned Grant Williams about playing in the G League. About hey,
that was Admiral Schofield.
Yeah, Admiral Schofield. Yeah, you're right.
Then he got on Grant Williams' ass about his broke jump shot.
Right, and then and we see the path that Lester's on now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So all these guys think they're pros. All of them think they're pros. I think that at this point, Leonard has a little bit more maturity where he can realize, hey, I've got an opportunity to do this. But I just think this is easier said than done, man. You're talking about a guy who thinks he's a pro.
No, it's tough.
You know what I mean?
It's tough.
And that's the tall task that Penny's gonna have to figure out. We've been down this road many times before.
Yeah.
With Penny dealing with personalities. I'm not gonna say I've seen people, fans, media guys who said, either mostly off the air, who said, man, I'd rather just not fool around with DeAndre at this point. I think this team would be fine without him. You get him, yeah, sure. But, you got guys who thought they were going to be this, and now they're not going to be this. It's going to be interesting, man. I think Penny is built for it. This is something I'll talk with Jarvis Greer, who's going to be our exciting guest today for the sit down with Sain. I'll definitely talk to him about what Penny's doing, see if he thinks Penny's matured in these type of areas. I probably won't get into the specifics of the Deandre Williams situation, but I'll talk to him about, of course, the things that are going on with Penny Hardaway. Super excited to have one of the legends of Memphis sports media, Memphis sports journalism, Jarvis Greer, who will join us for Sit Down with Sain. But yeah, man, I think anybody who's doubted Penny Hardaway, shame on you, because he has put a hell of a class together, man, for sure. Assuming that he gets a guy like Jahvon Quinerly, who, by the time this airs, we may have news he's committed to Memphis. Who knows? But like I said, when we come back for Sit Down with Sain, Jarvis Greer from Grind City Media is going to come in. Of course, legendary sports media personality from WMC5 as well. You may know him from that. He'll be here on Sit Down with Sain, here on the Anthony Sain Show. We'll see you guys in a minute.
Bluff City NIL is an official partner with Coaching for Literacy, a nonprofit organization using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. You can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or at Coaching for Literacy on social media platforms. Your donations to Bluff City NIL are 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together, so we thank you for supporting Memphis Tiger student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause that is childhood literacy.
Everyone, welcome back. Have a very special guest today. Very seldom do I bring someone on who leaves me awestruck, Kenny Stubblefield. When I see this man at Grizzly games, Tiger basketball games, whatever it is, I usually make a spectacle and bow down to him or hang my head until he gives me permission to look up. I usually do something like that, Kenny, to cause a scene, and he hates when I do it every time.
I don't blame you whatsoever, man.
But this man goes without any introduction. He was a staple of my life from high school, well, probably middle school up until now, watching him on WMC5, and now also on Grizz Beat on Grind City Media. The competition down the street is who he does his show for. Has a weekly show. He's had me on there a couple of times. Always an honor to talk about anything with this man to my right, Mr. Jarvis Greer. Jarvis, how you doing today, sir?
Feeling great, Sain. How about you? I'm glad to be here in the beautiful, illustrious Sain studio.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on. Man, I'm fighting emotions, Kenny Stubblefield, dealing with this man over here.
I can tell you are.
No, seriously, man. Like when the first time I was a regular guest. I've been a regular guest on Jason and John's show for years, outside of when I had my own show. Mm-hmm. And the first time I was giving,
and you were good with Peter, man. We used to listen to you in the morning.
Shout out to my boy Peter Emerson. And the first time I was given the opportunity to guest host was Jason and John took a week off. Mm-hmm. So I do the show, and I get a phone call like immediately. Like as we go off the air, my phone's ringing. I didn't recognize the number, so I didn't answer it. Plus, I literally just got off the air. So I get in the car, this number leaves a voicemail. It's freaking Jarvis Greer, who didn't have my number at the time, left me a voicemail talking about how important it was, how proud of me he was, how important it was to hear a black voice on the radio. Man, I'm crying like a baby that stepped on a Lego.
Oh, that's
in
some
the
hard
car.
Tears there.
Yeah, man. Messed me up. But Jarvis, you've always been a mentor of mine, someone I've always looked up to. You gave young kids like me at the time an example of a black person on the television, you know what I mean? And working in the craft that I was interested in. And to see that, it's not like I grew up foreign thinking like, well, there's no such thing as black people who do what I like to do. Because I grew up watching you, every Friday night, Friday Football Fever, or just during the week on Channel 5. Just great to have you here, man, for sure. You already know, goes without being said. As I was saying, Jarvis.
I am humbled.
man, for sure. As I was saying, Jarvis, you are a true legend in Memphis sports journalism for so many reasons, the influence you've had on so many people. Just a great just a great humanitarian, man. When you stepped down finally after 43 years. I'm 43 years old, so
you're kidding.
You were at WMC5 literally my entire life.
April 30, 1979 is when I started. When were you born?
And I was born November 3rd. My entire life.
Your entire life.
Wow, you were there. You invited me to your going away party, which also was a humbling, amazing experience to be invited to that. But with the reach and the influence that you have, so many people look at you as a legend. I know you don't like the word legend, but so many people look at you as a legend, as an inspiration, just a genuine great person altogether. What does that mean to you to be that influential over so many people in the city of Memphis?
As you were saying, it's well, first of all, I'm humbled, and I thank you very much for all your kind words, and the check will be in the mail.
I'm surprised I ain't crying, man. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a real crybaby out here.
You just got to make sure that bad boy clears. That's all.
Yeah, I got you.
But when I started it, I was just doing what I do. I just wanted to have fun doing something. My mentor was the great Jack Eaton, who's in the great press box in the sky, and he just said, "Jarvo, my lad, you just be you." And Jack was a character. And it was like going to work in a comedy store when I got the chance to work with him. When I started, my brain was already warped because I listened to Jack as a kid calling the Tiger games growing up, and he's, "Oh, great Scott, this and that," and he would seem to have so much fun, and he just draw the the listeners into the radio. And then when he covered me when I was at CBHS and covered me when I played for the Tigers, and I got to go on several road trips. I got to sit with him on the plane and talk to him about, wow, so how is this? And he was, I tell you anything and everything. And then finally, when I graduated and it was time to find a job, I applied at all the stations here locally, and I got to go down to Channel 5, and Jackie said, "Yeah, come on in. You got to bring him on in." So, boom, here I am, and it was like being in a comedy store every day, working with Jack Eaton. It was just awesome, and it like I said, we were talking off air before we started. He said, "Jarvo, my lad, just be yourself. Just don't try to be anything that you're not, and just enjoy. If you're having fun what you're doing, then people will have fun as well."
And That's amazing that you said that. Shout out to Jack Eaton, of course, because I've heard other stories of minorities, or whether it be women, men, black people, who have had those type of opportunities, who weren't told to go be themselves. You know what I mean? They had to conform to something. And for you to be able to go out there and do your thing like that, it's an amazing story, amazing testimony. And I know for sure not just black people, but you definitely influence young black people who are trying to get into this industry. But everyone is influenced by you in the city of Memphis, man, and you definitely deserve your flowers, man, for sure. So.
It's so funny because I run into some people say, "Oh, my name is Jarvis. Well, the name is Jarvis," especially, and I'm with my wife.
Right.
And I said, "No,
wait a minute. Right.
I have anything to do with that thing. I'm glad to. But,
I appreciate the respect, but
it's been it really is humbling, and it is a mind blowing experience to think that people. Watch it. Well, they see me between their toes at night when they're going to bed.
Right.
And there I am. I'm on, 6 and 10 every day. And so it's after a while, you get to be like part of the family.
Right.
And that's the way we always wanted to treat it. That, hey, look, I'm just like anybody else out there. I'm not any better than anybody else. I have an opinion, and I'll speak it every now and then, but like not any better than anybody else's. And, I have to think it's informed opinion, but, hey, we can talk about it and we can have fun with it. And that's what And, when we come on at the end of the newscast, sports should be fun. Sports should be having a good time because, all the rest of that gloom and doom stuff, that's for the news people to handle. I'm not about that. I want to, we're talking touchdowns. We're talking jams. We're talking, 3-pointers. We're having fun with it.
Right, and you definitely brought that energy, man. Like, I remember, I would stay up, and it was like Peanuts talk. It was like Charlie Brown talk. The regular news was on. And I was staying up, but I would stay up to wait to see you come on, and you just brought a totally different energy, and you made the sports part, that much more amazing. You mentioned that you played football at the University of Memphis.
Right.
I'm going to date you a little bit, Jarvis. There's a minor league football league in the city of Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
The USFL.
Correct, yes.
I'm
an ambassador for the USFL Memphis Showboats, by the way.
And you were
one of my several gigs in retirement.
Right. Must be nice for sure. We were witnessing the resurgence of the USFL, the return. You were around for the very first.
Oh, yeah, 84, 85. Sure was.
You were, matter of fact, you had kind of cut your teeth a little bit as a sports reporter by that time.
Yeah, we did one thing we called Showtimes for the Showboats when they first got started here. It was a way to give people a chance to get inside the Showboats,
right?
See what the inner workings of this new thing was here.
Right.
Pepper Rogers was the coach. They're a great guy, great dude, man. I tell you what, he was fantastic. He would gave us access to everything. And so with Showtime for the Showboats, I'd been 2 years out of playing at Memphis. Well, now a little bit longer than that, 84, 85, and my last year to play was 78. But I was still in shape a little bit.
You could have got out there probably, would you?
So I did.
Oh, okay.
That's what I did. I suited up with them the first week of training camp and went around and, showed people what it was like in the equipment, getting all your stuff, and then going through the meetings, and then actually getting out there and hitting on the field, which they let me do a couple of times, run a couple of defenses, and they actually liked me, which was, that was fine. I still had it a little bit, but there was no way that I was going to be able to play professional. I knew my little body wasn't going to be able to take the pounding of being a professional athlete, and then they had a good idea who they wanted and who was going to play, and that I was kind of a sideshow, but they didn't treat me like that. They let me go in and do some stuff.
I had no clue of it. So you were like full-time sports anchor at WMC5, and you had the opportunity.
I was
to play.
doing the weekends then.
Okay,
and I
was still,
the anchor, and then that we did that for a full week.
Wow,
and we put it together for a ratings period, and it actually worked pretty good.
Man, that's dope. That's a dope story.
Yeah, but shout out to Pepper Rogers, and he's also gone to that great press box. But man, and that whole organization, Billy Donovan was the owner, Steve Earhart was the general manager, and he's the one largely responsible for getting Walter Lewis, Reggie White, and all those dudes in here to come and play. And it was just an awesome experience.
I also, everyone of course knows you as being one of the voices of Tiger football.
Yes.
You listen to the broadcast. I still remember listening to a broadcast. Jarvis, you said the funniest thing. I'm about to start crying, laughing, thinking about it. I think it was, what's the kid's name that he just left, the super fast receiver?
Oh, Calvin Austin.
Calvin Austin, yeah.
With the Steelers now.
I want to say he scored a touchdown. It might not have been him. But some kid scored a touchdown, and he was like, he could have ran all the way to the Dodgers chicken on Elvis Presley.
Yeah, he could have run the Dodger store and got him a Dodger dog.
Right,
Down there
but
I
think he went to. I think he made it. It wasn't Calvin Austin because the kid did it.
That would have been Tony Pollard
because he went to Whitehaven or something like that. Right?
Tony Pollard his family has a store down there.
Oh, okay.
Pollard's Barbecue.
Okay, I got you. All right, because I was like, man, that was wild.
And Tony Pollard's also doing very well in the NFL.
Oh yeah, for sure. We got a lot of pros came out of it.
Tigers. I got to keep with the blue and gray.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of the blue and gray, Penny Hardaway is putting a pretty good class together, if I don't say. We were talking about that in the first segment about the whole situation he's got with the guys he's bringing in. Tons of talent. What do you think about Penny as a coach, the way he's developing, not only as he's always going to be the recruiter, because I heard someone else talking about this. If Penny Hardaway calls, if only your parents want to talk to Penny Hardaway, he's going to get, he's going to get on the phone. You know what I mean? So not just as a recruiter, what do you think about Penny's job as recruiting, of course, and also developing as a coach? We've seen him mature with the way he handles things, way he handles chemistry, politics of the game, all those type of things. What do you think about Penny as he's
he came in as a rookie college head coach. So, there's no experience on the college level.
Right.
Plenty of experience in, AAU and travel ball and, of course, coach at East. And he came up, you talk about grinding, and he came up as middle school with his buddy Dez, who, unfortunately died of cancer. He came in to help his buddy Dez out at middle school.
Right.
And they went on to win the city championship. I think they won the state. That group went on to East, and you know how good they were.
Right.
Got him a couple of titles at East, and he was the head coach. And so the natural progression, if he wanted to stay in it, Penny can burn money and still have money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Literally.
And but he had gotten into it because he just did the first thing as a favor to his friend, but the bug got into him. I'm coaching now, and I can do this. And it's a challenge to him to do something. His post-playing days. Unfortunately, he had the foot problem, or he would have been a Hall of Famer for sure in the NBA. And he had there's only so much golf I guess you can play, and he wanted to keep his hand in it. And so when it came open that Memphis was going to be looking for a coach, he said, "Why not go back to his alma mater?" And I would say he has been one of the most successful former Tiger or any college coach going back to their alma mater to play.
If you really think about it.
Professional.
Yeah, he definitely has, man.
So, and one quick thing, you talk about his recruiting, like, oh my God, back in April, people think, geez, where are we going?
Right.
We don't have anybody.
Who are these dudes?
They're all checking out.
Right.
It's like, well, no, Penny's still on the phone, and he's still doing what he does. And
out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah,
he's just making stuff happen. Yep.
Like you say, if the kids don't know him, the parents do.
Yeah.
And all they got to do is, hey, check his YouTube page out.
Exactly.
You'll see what Penny Hardaway was as a player. And you can see what he's been doing because they've been getting steadily. He is learning as the teams are learning. Because, being a rookie head coach, he had some growing pains himself. Fortunately, it's his alma mater. They'll let him grow. But he's been way more successful as they've been going on, and he's brought in, 2 number 1 recruiting classes.
Yeah.
The team last year said, well, all these guys, all these transfers coming in, he's the perfect coach for this because he knows about free agency from the NBA.
Yeah.
He knows how to handle that. He knows how to work it. He knows how to, get these guys to navigate NIL and all the transfer portal. It's just free agency.
It's like minor leagues now. So
yeah,
that's
exactly. What
he can definitely navigate through that.
And it's good for the players. Which maybe there could be a couple of rules they could tighten up on, like when you can enter the portal. So you think you got a roster, no you don't. But that's helped Penny here at the end because they were able to pick up this the big kid out of Louisiana,
right?
Jordan Brown. It looks like he's going to be really good. They could be really, really good. And say, oh, they got a first round exit. Well, look who they lost to. They lost to a team in Florida Atlantic that was like that Derrick Rose team.
Right.
Oh, they're coming out of Conference USA, and everybody poo-pooed them. That were grown-ass men out there
and they were
playing for them. And they went to the Final Four and lost in the semifinals on a last-second shot.
Right.
So they could have been in the title game.
Exactly.
So it's not like they lost to chopped liver. And that was a really good game. And, just sometimes that's the way it goes. It's called scar tissue.
Yeah.
They're
piling
it up.
Yeah.
And now he's got, another group of guys that I think their average age is going to be around 24 and a half or something like that.
He's got a team that's If he were to take an NBA job, he probably would have an older roster.
Yeah.
Than some of the jobs, like if he got the Orlando Magic job, his college team might be a little older than the Magic.
A little bit older than them. That's
right.
They at one point they were older than the Grizzlies.
Right.
They had all those young guys.
Yeah.
He's playing it the way you got to play it.
Yeah.
That's tough for high school kids coming up because there's not as many opportunities. Everybody's playing that game. They know that experience wins. And unless you got, you'll have 2 or 3, top 5, top 10 guys. The rest of them better have experience or you're not winning.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. You talked about Penny Hardaway, who, of course, is the king of Memphis basketball. Another king in the making, so to speak, who's kind of gotten off of that path of being that potential guy who could take that throne from Penny Hardaway one day is Morant, of course.
Ja.
We know about the situation he's going through, that he's put himself in. I'm not trying to make him a victim.
I'm trying to get me some of them Ja ones right
Oh,
now.
yeah, man. They're hard to find, man. You might have get them from China or something, DH Gate or something. Get some bootleg joints or something. But what do you think about the situation Ja's going through? I know you're a very positive person who can pull, shine light in any dark situation. What do you think? Do you think that Ja can make this a true redemption story and get out of this and come back out looking like a guy who, like I said, could look like the guy who could be the face of Memphis basketball for forever? You know what I mean?
He's in the perfect place for it because if you look, say Jerry Lee Lewis, if you want to go back to that and say he married his cousin, he still came back and became, one of the biggest rock and roll stars ever.
Right.
And there's other examples that you can go through, in Memphis history of people who have fallen down and gotten back up.
Right.
I don't see this as Ja falling down that far, for his offense, like waving a gun around on Instagram Live.
Right.
The culture now is a gun culture. With all the politicians that are doing everything they do, and now with open carry, shoot, anybody can have a gun. You don't need a registration. You can do whatever you do. And then Instagram Live. Just think if you and me, when we were growing up, me, I'm older than you, but even you growing up, if there had been Instagram Live, just think how many things that we could have been doing.
Oh, man, who you
that
telling?
would put us in a bad light.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't think that it's that difficult a thing. And once he starts yamming on people, people are gonna forget about the rest of it. As long as he, puts the gun in the holster and keeps it, out of public light.
Right.
But the thing is about Ja is, 6 years? He's been in the league 5 years now.
I think so. Yeah.
So 6 years, 7 years ago, he was a no-star recruit coming out of
literally no star.
Literally no star. Nobody really knew anything about him. Goes to Murray State. First year, he had a decent first year, but nothing, too spectacular. Second year,
average, played college basketball year.
Yeah. Second year, he blows up. All of a sudden, gets to, all of a sudden, his YouTube is everywhere.
Because of social media, which is so ironic about it. The thing that we're demonizing him about is the reason why he's in the NBA.
Yeah,
right.
He blows up and then gets in an NCAA tournament. They beat Marquette, and he's doing all Ja kind of things. And so, boom, he becomes the number 2 pick in the draft. Becomes the NBA Rookie of the Year, NBA All-Star, signs a big contract. All this in a very short space and all very public. Very, very public. So it's I just tell people, look, don't be judging on people, because we've seen people, Justin Bieber, that get in front of the camera. Their lives are in front of the camera. You see them grow up, and if they make a mistake, it's a fall from grace. Well, they're a kid making a mistake.
Right.
And then, the people around them, it's dad and mom were doing all right, but they didn't have this $140 million, all of a sudden dropped onto them, which is they've worked for it. But now here it is, and it's oh, yeah, we're going to live a little.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything bad about that. It's just that, one thing somebody told me is John needs to get, I know he's got his buddies around him and they're going to be thick and thin, ride or die. Okay, that's one thing. But, you need to get some rich people around you that've been there. You know what I mean? They've been there and they've seen
It's a good point,
this.
man. I don't think anybody said that. But yeah, he's got to get some people that he's not. Well, he may still be the richest man in the room, but he's not. The other people in the room aren't living off of him.
No, they ain't living off of him.
Right.
And they've seen this and done that. You know what I mean? And they can tell, take it home. Go home. Or just you don't
Put
need
the phone down.
Yeah, just
put the gun down, John.
That's so funny because we went to Las Vegas and once my sister lived out there, and we land at the airport and we see Silk Sonic opening their
right.
They were in residence out there. They're opening shows. My mom lives out there, so we're gonna say, God rest both of them. They passed this past summer.
Oh man!
But this was the last thing we all did together. We went to the Silk Sonic show. We spent out the wazoo for tickets. But I mean, hey, we're out here. We may as well.
You ain't messed up about it, Joe.
And the first thing they did when we get there, they take your phone, they put it in a Ziploc thing.
I've seen it. Lock it up. Yep.
Lock it away. So what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Right,
What happened
literally.
in there stayed in there. It was the best time we had with family. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then we get the phone back. That's what John's probably gonna have to do.
Yeah, carry a little Ziploc thing with a lock on it.
If you running with me, you ain't gonna none of this. And
Put your phones up like you're a Dave
A lot
Chappelle
of guys
concert.
do that.
Uh-huh.
You know? And a lot. This is no secret. A lot of players in NBA, NFL, they carry guns,
Right.
Because they want to protect the people coming up to them all the time, but they just don't show it. You
Right.
know, and or they're Plaxico Burress and they dag them near shoot their leg
Right.
off. You remember that situation in the club, but. It's just it's all part of growing up, and we're watching somebody grow up in front of us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure, man. We talked about John, his leadership or lack thereof, things like that. Do you think it's important because the Grizzlies just got Marcus Smart? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do you think it's important to have a guy like that? Do you think the Grizzlies should try to set him up to be – that's kind of hard to say to ask him to be the leader because he just got here.
That's gonna have to
Right.
happen organically.
Yeah.
That's gonna just have to as they go along and they the camps get where they are and the people start to know each other. That's just gonna you can't force that.
Right.
You can't. Okay, he's the captain and he's gonna That's gonna have to just gradually come in. But I think Marcus Smart is the kind of person though that. He don't take no stuff.
Nah.
And, he got into it, I think, was it last year or year before?
He gets into it with
locker
everybody.
room with Jaylen Brown
Yeah.
and Jason Tatum. Because thought they were slacking off. Look,
Yeah.
this is, you can't have that. You know,
Right.
and he's guys going to marshal things on the court and off the court. Look, if we want to win, this dude's made deep run. He's been to how many Eastern Conference Finals?
At least 4.
Been in the finals,
Right.
and made deep playoff runs just about every year he's been in the league. So this is a guy you're going to have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And it's really something, the similarity between him and Tony Allen.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's just like,
Height, wingspan.
both went to Oklahoma State. Both came to Memphis from the Celtics. Both at 29 years old.
Right.
And, similar size. Tony was a little bigger. But, Marcus Smart's very strong, got a good long wingspan. And he's a guy that I think that anybody would look up to because he's been there, done that.
Right. And with him probably being that temporary or that stopgap leader for this team next year, who do you think should really take the reign? Do you think John's eventually going to get to the point where he's that guy? Because typically you want your best player to be your leader.
Be that dude. Well, I think, John was that dude there for a while until he got off on this tangent, this off-the-court stuff. That was a
Right.
bad summer last year for
Right,
John.
yeah.
No
It's a
doubt.
tough one.
But, up until then, everybody looked at John. He's still a good teammate on the
Right.
floor, and I think they had one meeting. Steven Adams, was very vocal about them having, look, we got to tighten up ship, because they were starting to lose games on the road. And it's like everybody on that team is 23, 24 years old. They're young men out, wanting to enjoy life. I'm so happy that you can. But, you got to keep in mind that you got a goal in mind, and you can save some of that stuff for off season.
For sure.
And it's just, it's going to take somebody within the organization to do that. And I think Ja, eventually, he's seen that, it's like Penny. We were talking about Penny earlier. Penny was a Prop 48. Remember the old Prop 48? If you didn't get your grades, you couldn't play. You couldn't play your first year. And Penny had basketball taken away from him because he couldn't play. And that did something to him. He said, never will I ever. And he ended up being a Dean's List student. Penny's a smart dude.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
You know that. Just talking to him. But he at Treadwell, he would slough off and get by on his smile. Oh, that's
Right.
Penny. He's such a good guy and all that stuff.
Right.
And he didn't do his classwork. And one teacher just said, no, Penny, I cannot do it. I can't let you go. And but he didn't curse her out, or he didn't say anything bad about that. He said, she did what she was supposed to do.
Yeah, and he did what he had to.
And he did what he had to do to get back eligible. And then boom, he walked, got his degree, got his contract,
Right.
and is doing very, very well. So that's one thing I think Ja will get back to the point where, okay, basketball is he loves doing. I mean, you can see he's got great joy while he's out there playing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be taken from him from something that he did and that he has been responsible for. And like to say words are cheap and all that stuff. He knows what he did, and and anybody can slip up. They weren't, that last incident in the car, parked car somewhere, and they would jam into whatever was on
Right.
the box, and whatever happened happened. But you can't slip up now.
Yeah, he's definitely got to keep it tight at this point for sure. We're here with Jarvis Greer, host of Grizz Beat, which you can watch on Grind City Media. Also, of course, know him as being the former sports director at WMC Channel 5. Final question for you, Jarvis. Again, thank you for coming on today. Final question for you. You've recently transitioned from WMC 5 to more digital media, doing things like we do here at Bluff City Media as opposed to the daily grind of television. What has that transition been like for you? And also, what do you feel about how, like, at one time you had to go through a certain path to get here? You would have to go to school, intern, do all these type of things. Now you can go spend a couple $100 and get equipment and do a podcast from your house. And technically you're as much media as guys like yourself who came through television. What has that transition been like for you? And what do you think about how the wave of technology have kind of evened the playing field?
Well, it's good and bad because anybody could get a
Literally
camera
anybody.
and do it. No, anybody can get a camera and do this, but can't everybody? Not everybody's good at it, nor should they even attempt it, because you can tell the ones that have something or have worked for it, as opposed to somebody that's got one idea and a one-note person. You can't, because you won't last. And as you can see, the podcasts jump up and fall down all over the place. But like the way you came, you grinded, you came up through it hard, and you did radio, you guest hosted, you've done all kind of things, and it's I cannot say anything like me. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing a podcast because, like I said, I did 43 years, nights and weekends, and I'm, I like my little gigs that I do now, with the Grizz and with the Showboats. I'm at local ambassador for USFL. And, and I enjoy that, and it's on my own terms. And when I'm done, I'm done. And me and my wife can go out to dinner. Like I was just, we were just talking the other day. Like we went to a movie in the middle of the week at night.
Hey, when was the last time you did that, man?
I can't even remember.
Oh, man.
Without being on vacation.
Right.
You know what I mean? I have to take vacation. And now if I go on vacation, I go on vacation. I don't have to tell them. I don't have to ask anybody.
Yeah.
I just go.
I'm out.
Or I just say, look, I'm gone this week. And that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
you deserve it, man.
And it's like retirement is wonderful. 2 thumbs up. I'm totally enjoying it.
Oh, man, you deserve it.
My wife retired before I did. She was out a year before me. She was at Alsac, St. Jude for 30 years. And she way above my pay grade, man. She's on like 5 boards, and she does consulting and all this stuff, but it's on her time when she wants to do it. And she'd be looking up at me like, when you gonna, we can go walk around the block, and we can, bike ride and do some of the things. We can travel when we want to travel, see the grandkids, and it's just like,
oh man.
So this has been awesome.
Awesome. I bet it has,
definitely
man.
Awesome.
But Jarvis, I appreciate you coming on, man. Again,
you the man
for sure.
No,
I'm trying to be, man.
You,
if you say it, I'm gonna take it, man. If you say I'm the man, I don't care what y'all say. If Jarvis Greer say I'm the man, I'm him. That's for sure. Well, we're about to take a break, man. When we come back, we're gonna do the 3-pointer here on the Anthony Sain Show. We will see y'all in a minute.
Bluff City NIL is an official partner with Coaching for Literacy, a nonprofit organization using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. You can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or at Coaching for Literacy on social media platforms. Your donations to Bluff City NIL are 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together, so we thank you for supporting Memphis Tiger student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause that is childhood literacy.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. About to do a segment we like to call the 3-pointer, talk about 3 things in the world of sports that are intriguing, something to talk about. Of course, NBA free agency is amongst us. We talked earlier in the first segment about how there's no point of even talking about tampering because these agents are just talking. Man. They're talking to the media. They're talking to each other. These deals are already done. There's going to be a mad regurgitation happening around 5 p.m. Central Time today on Friday, free agent news. And some of the news that we'll talk about in the three-pointer today. Before we start talking about that, the Ja deposition update is this is day 2 of deposition news that we'll talk about here on the Anthony Sain Show. And I'll just make some quick points on that. We're going to make this a pretty rapid-fire three-pointer today. Number 1, I talked about my assumptions of how the event played out when D-Tap had his deposition the other day. And I said this, kid. I said, I can picture T. Morant on the barbecue grill.
And it was in there, bro. That's so funny, man.
That shit actually happened.
It was happening.
It was happening,
like,
man.
That seems like a live-ass time, man.
Man, that just sound like a vibe. John Morant was there. Mike Miller. Hey,
Trey Draper was there.
Trey Draper, Memphis's finest high school players were there.
The music was playing.
You know it was a vibe,
it was a vibe,
man. I wish I was in that joint. I would not have been on the basketball court because it was some real deal stuff going on out there for sure. This is what 2 things I took from this. I saw that Leslie Ballin is the attorney for the Hardaway family. And there are people, Ja's going to get it now.
Oh, come on, man.
Reminding you guys, this is a civil case. Ja's not going to jail. This is a matter of probably money. It's probably all this is. And this could probably be over if Ja was just settled.
It could be over tomorrow.
And I think Ja's being kind of, I don't want to say petty, but he might feel away, man. Like he clearly feels away about all this. Like he's not wanting to give in to whatever, the requests are, demands are from this family. And I'll say this, man, the more that this goes on, the more it looks like more this is feeling smaller and smaller. The more it feels like complete bullshit, and this is probably going to be nothing by the time it's over with, just being honest.
All you have to do is read T. Morant's deposition and go, this is nothing.
Yeah, this is literally nothing, man.
It's literally nothing.
T. Morant said that, and I just pictured this too. I pictured how this whole thing went down. T. Morant, of course, was a college basketball player. Josh Holloway, his dad, played ball as well. T called Josh's dad. I'm sure they've had several conversations before.
Right.
Broke down what happened. He said that he felt like things were cool, and that Holloway's dad even said,
"Yeah, man, this happens.
This happens. It's basketball. OG, we've been through this. You know what I mean? Like,
said, let's get these 2 guys together so
let's squash this out, repair the relationship.
Yeah, man.
These guys had a relationship before this. Let's not let this destroy these guys' relationship." But T talked to the kid's mom. It went in a totally different direction. Yeah, man. We've seen this story before. We know how it went down. Really unfortunate situation, man, because I'll say something I don't think a lot of people are even talking about on this. If there was a relationship beforehand, you're talking about a situation where biggest basketball player in the city of Memphis is playing in your hometown. I'm putting myself in Josh Holloway's shoes. You looked up to this man. You idolized him. I'm sure he came to your games. I'm sure you guys were on the phone, FaceTiming, texting, all these type of things. When your hero lets you down like that, you have this type of altercation.
Yeah, man.
I'm sure it hurt the kid. I'm sure he was heartbroken.
100%.
And I'm sure but I hate that relationship is not what it was. Because you could have seen a situation where you got a kid like Joshua Holloway who could be wearing Jahvon's at next year's in college when he played for Oak Hill this year.
Right.
He could have been in college wearing a Jahvon. An idea I've thrown out before, I would love to see it may sound corny, but like Ja's backyard boys who are like guys that Ja identifies as kids who got it in the mud. They're wearing Jahvons. They got some type of NIL deal with Nike.
100%.
Where you got these kids that are handpicked by Ja who are wearing Jahvons. Call them the backyard. Ja, not because of that incident, but because this is what Ja did anyway. He played pickup ball in his neighborhood at his house with the kids in the neighborhood. Ja's backyard boys could be some type of NIL deal. And I just hate how this thing has went on because it probably could have been something great and it's not there anymore. So that was number 1. Number 2, Dillon Brooks is reportedly headed to the Houston Rockets with full contract details by Mark Stein, which is so wild. We talked about that already. Dillon getting about $15, $16 million per year. Feels a little, I don't know, you want to say he's being petty or he just had a dose of reality. Probably a bit of the two. I think the Grizzlies offered him something like that as an extension. last summer. Dillon didn't take that. And boy, am I glad that he did. Just be honest with you, man. I don't want to shit on Dillon Brooks as he goes out of the door, but I am glad that we're moving on from Dillon Brooks' era. Something that I don't think anyone else will talk about this either as well with the Houston thing. Yeah, it could be a good situation for Dillon Brooks because he's in a team where his intangibles are valued, his culture that he brought from the Grizzlies, going to Houston, being just a tough, hard-nosed guy, can definitely play out. But poor Ime Udoka, who's got the challenge of molding this young, wild, buck-wild, undisciplined, immature Houston team, as well as dealing with Dillon Brooks, who's 26, 27, and on the same type of shit that these guys are on. You know what I mean? That's the part that makes it a difficult thing to think about for Ime Udoka. One of the guys he's going to have to mature is his vet. Is going to be one of the older players on the team, in Dillon Brooks, who doesn't think he's going to be just. If you think, it was hard to get him to defer to guys like Ja Morant. Imagine thinking he's going to fall back for Jalen Green. You know what I mean? So, we'll see how that all plays out. But shout out to Dillon. And woe to everyone who was saying this stupid stuff about Dillon going overseas and out of the league and all those type of things. There's no way he wasn't going to get a deal.
Right.
He was shooting for 20, 25 million. Reportedly, he's going to get about 15, 16. Hey, you're still a big time millionaire with a very nice deal.
I'll take 15 mil right now.
Yeah, for sure. So shout out to him. And finally, 3 other stories of note that happened, since we started recording. Kyrie Irving meeting with the Suns. I am so happy that Kyrie Irving is playing in everyone's face right now. Like he's going to make free agency probably as funny as possible with some of the stories you're going to hear. I would not be surprised if Kyrie Irving stretches this out until the final moment before he decides I think he's already decided what he's going to do. But I think he's going to play with everybody this entire time and just troll the world doing free agency. I think he knows he's probably going back to Dallas. Because I don't think he's going to go anywhere that can actually – if there was a player that I think would sign for the league minimum, it would be Kyrie Irving, just to troll everyone. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to go where he can get paid. There are not many contending teams that have money. I don't even think he's going to go to the mid-level exception somewhere for a contending team. I think he's going to stay in Dallas, get his paycheck.
You know this better than me.
Mm-hmm.
Can a guy who's made that much money and been in the league that long?
I do not know better than you. I wondered the same thing.
Could he actually take a vet minimum?
But the vet minimum is not the same. It's not his vet minimum won't be the same as John Conchar's. You know what I mean? So it's a different figure, I believe. But man, that would be wild if he did that. I don't think that's going to happen. He would pretty much have to do that if he goes to Phoenix. I don't even think they're eligible for. I don't even think they have the full mid-level exception at their disposal. I might be wrong.
Dude, they worked out Jabari Parker today, man. The Suns worked out Jabari Parker.
Which shows you what kind of time they on, for sure.
This is who they're working out to try to see if they can fill their roster out.
Yeah, I think, like I said, they, as a scouting reference, I think they cut on NBA 2K17. I think that's what they did.
That's exactly what they've done.
For sure. That's definitely interesting, of course. Kyrie Irving. Also, James Harden. Looks like he's going to be on the move. He opted into his contract with an understanding that Philadelphia would try to move him. Teams like the Clippers and the Knicks have been connected to James Harden. $36 million contract for him. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out, man. It seems like James Harden is just going to land.
What a wild
man.
What a wild career for that guy, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. We'll see how that works out. Wouldn't mind seeing him in New York, though, man. I think that'd be, pretty cool to see him there. I don't want to see him with the Clippers at all, just to be honest with you. Keep him out east, for sure.
Let him and Jalen Brunson play together.
Yeah, for sure. Let them cook out there. Finally, there are reports from, I forgot the brother's name, meant to write it down. One of the writers for The Athletic says that Eric Gordon to Memphis could be a possibility. Memphis is one of the teams listed with Eric Gordon. It seems like we've been hearing
is this
weird.
2018?
I know, man. 2013. No, 16. Like we've ever since 2016, we've heard Eric Gordon connected to Memphis every offseason. Every offseason. It has never made sense, really. I was listening to Chris Harrington. I've been killing the whole thing, but Chris Harrington made a valid point. He said, with that last roster spot you have, Eric Gordon could be a guy who could maximize how good you are while Ja's gone. It could be a valuable piece that you can move at the deadline. He's a guy who could come in, help out with the ball handling, help out with the shooting. If you had to start him, you could. And he's a guy that you at the deadline you can move him for something. I was like, yeah, I didn't think about that at all. So I could kind of see that, but I'm totally against. If anything, I think the Grizzlies need to if they're going to sign anyone, need to sign someone that's a 4-3, someone that could start a little bit, that could come in to for Marcus Smart if he's playing on the wing, a guy who can be a backup wing on your team, a 3-4, 4-3 type of player. That's my personal preference, but yeah, we'll see. Eric Gordon in Memphis, we'll see. Also, if you're wondering why I'm wearing what I'm wearing, shout out to the good people with the Memphis Redbirds. Sent us a nice little care package waiting on us when we got here, Kenny. I'm wearing the jersey situation that they are giving away on July the 1st. This Saturday, they're giving this jersey away. The Redbirds take on Nashville at 6:30. The first 1,500 fans will get one of these. Also, send us some. I think this is all part of their July.
Yeah.
For the July, celebration.
Right.
Got these refrigerator
magnets.
I keep these joints at the house. They got the super freaky, sexy 25 years of Redbirds Hawaiian shirt.
I'll just tell you this, man. I don't ever want to be around Sain when he's wearing that shirt because that means some super freaky stuff.
Somebody getting pregnant that night for sure. And he also sent us a Tommy Edmond bobblehead. I don't know if it's over my head or not. We already put it up.
Your right shoulder.
Is it really?
Yep.
Right shoulder.
Right shoulder. Right over there by the grit and grind. Look up. Yeah.
Oh, sure is. Right there.
Right there.
Right. Hold on.
Tommy Edmonds, the bobblehead diving. There you go. Look
somewhere.
at him.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah. You can't. But yeah. Yo, go pick those up this weekend. They got giveaways every game. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I'll just give a quick recap. Friday, June 30th, Memphis versus Nashville, 7 o'clock. That's the bobblehead giveaway for the first 1,500 fans. Saturday, the powder blue jersey that you see. Also a fireworks show. 6:30, Memphis versus all the games in Memphis versus Nashville. 6:30, first 1,500 fans. Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Hawaiian shirt giveaway, first 1,500. And July the 3rd, fireworks show, all you can eat barbecue, and that. Yeah, that's it. I don't see these on there at all. That might be Monday. I don't know. But make sure y'all go check it out.
Shout out to the
Shout
Redbirds.
out to Memphis Redbirds, man. We're about to take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap this thing up with Inside the Sain Brain. When we come back on the Anthony Sain Show.
Bluff City NIL is an official partner with Coaching for Literacy, a nonprofit organization using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. You can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or at Coaching for Literacy on social media platforms. Your donations to Bluff City NIL are 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together, so we thank you for supporting Memphis Tiger student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause that is childhood literacy.
Welcome back, everyone. Final segment of the show. Shout out to our special guest today, Mr. Jarvis Greer, one of the great legends in Memphis sport media, one of my personal heroes, man, who inspired me to do this. Like I said, he said I'm the man, so I'm him. I don't really care what y'all have to say.
Ain't nobody say nothing else, man.
Yeah, I don't care what y'all got to say in the comments. Shout out to that guy. I'm going to pull a real John Morant. Some guy was like, it's always been a mystery how Anthony Sain and John Martin keep a job in broadcasting.
Who said that?
Some dude in the comments for the last show. I said, yeah, you're right, brother. Tell him about it. Tell him about it, brother.
Tell him about it. But hey, thank you for the watch.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the views,
man.
Share it next time, man. Share it on your Facebook and ask your friends how I'm able to stay.
Why does he keep a job? Thanks for the share, baby.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. But yeah, man. Inside the Sain Brain, I'm going to talk about something that I was talking about on Facebook, and I'm going to bring it here to the show. As you know, Kenny, the BET Awards, where this past weekend, this Monday or something like that. I don't watch them. I've never really been an award show guy. But a lot of people were talking about it. A lot of people in my age group were talking about it. And the thing they were talking about a lot was that today's music is trash. And this stuff is garbage. And, you know, how to get this stuff off television. And today's artists are horrible, all these type of things. And I'm here to make a announcement to the people in my age group. Hip-hop culture, well, let me say this. First of all, whether the music is bad or not is relative to the listener. And also, we're just old as shit, Kenny. I mean, I don't really know any way to say it. Like, we've outgrown hip-hop culture. Hip-hop culture has always been dependent on the youth, the young people. It's 100%. Always been a music of rebellion. It's always been a music of expression for a particular age group. We can't grow old and bring hip-hop with us. Sure, you can put on your Run DMC Adidas and your Run DMC T-shirt or your Wu-Tang Clan shirt or your 3 6 Mafia shirt or whatever you call hip-hop and have these old school nostalgia throwbacks and callbacks and all these type of things. That's cool. I'm not saying that you have to leave your past in the past. It's cool to bring your music with you. And that's what I suggest to you. If you don't like today's music, just keep listening to whatever you've been listening to. You don't have to listen to the music. But don't shit on these kids' music. Don't shit on their culture because you're being fake to hip-hop. That's not you can't call yourself hip-hop if you're talking bad about what is the current culture.
You sound like the people you didn't like when you were
we sound like our parents when they listen to our music. I don't understand what they're saying. It's a bunch of nonsense. They're not talking about nothing. Guess what? The stuff we were listening to was not talking about shit neither. We weren't. I promise you. I go back and listen to some of the stuff that we grew up on. It was all a bunch of nonsense. Let these kids have their sound. It's relative. If it's entertaining to them, it's good, no matter what our old asses say. and the way we consume music has changed, man. Like, I don't have to go out and buy an album to listen to somebody's music. If I hear an interesting song or I hear a song quoted or I see this woman on TV and they're talking about, I'm like, who is that? She's a singer. What does she sing? Okay, let me go listen real fast. I can literally pick up my phone, listen to this vast array of music catalog that I have on my digital music platform that I'm paying $9 a month for. Right. I can listen to any song I want to listen to.
Anything.
So we dispose music in a totally different way. We digest music in a totally different way than we did when we were kids. When we were kids, you got $12.99 if stuff was on sale. Most albums were $14.99. Every now and then you get a $9.99 sale. But you had to go buy an album and you would play that CD until the label comes off. That's why artists didn't make an artist would make an album every 2, 3, 4 years sometimes.
Right.
These guys now are making 3, 4 albums a year sometimes because music is so easily accessible, man. And they've learned ways to manipulate the system. And one thing I'll say now, back in the day, artists, all they could do was be an artist pretty much.
Right.
You could make albums and that was it. You might get to be on Law and Order or something, or or some guest segment on TV or some movie or something. But now in the era we're in now, where these guys have YouTube, these guys are influencers.
Right.
They're influencers that became musicians, and musicians who became influencers, and they have SoundCloud and all these ways to get into the industry as an independent artist, all these type of things. You've got artists who are getting shoe deals, right. McDonald's Big Mac meals, and clothing lines and all these type of things, starting their own lines. It's almost like the music is just a way for these guys and girls to get out there into whatever their dream is. But we can't knock the culture, man. It's their culture. It's not ours. We're old. We're old as shit.
Yeah, man.
Like, we're old. We can't even dance to the stuff that we used to like no more. Knees too damn bad. You know what I mean? So leave these kids alone. Let them enjoy their music, man. It's hip hop. It's always going to progress. It's always going to move forward, and it will leave us behind.
You were speaking truth right now, man. Like I was actually in a previous life managed hip hop recording artists, and came around during that time when that transition to streaming happened.
Right, and
you are 1,000% right. One of the perfect examples of it for me is probably one of my top 5 albums of all time. Is by 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
Right.
Like, literally, there's not a single skippable track on that album for me. This man put that album out, and in the following 365 days performed 367 times. And that's the way artists did things back then.
They don't have to do that anymore.
They don't have to do that anymore.
These guys are dropping 3, 4, 5 albums in a year.
Right.
Some of them.
And so it's like, and you also, there's so many platforms that these guys and ladies can make their waves on.
And they don't have to show up in the studio anymore. If I want to do a song with you, Kenny, you email me a song, I email you a track.
Right.
Song is done, and I can make an album in a day.
It's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to get Lil Wayne, whoever, all these guys in the same building. We can just make music with technology so easily now, man. So,
I have a question for you. There's a question I ask a lot of people. You're stuck on a deserted island. I want to know your favorites. You're stuck on a deserted island. You have all the food you need in the world, but you can only have one movie and one album to listen to for the rest of your life. What would it be?
One movie and one album. Shoot, man. I hate to say something that's my favorite movie. Life is up there.
Way up there.
That might be it because it's funny. It's got a good-ass story. Some of the greats in comedy and acting are in that movie.
Life is up there.
I'm probably overthinking some Marvel type movie. Maybe Batman. The first Batman Begins was a really good movie to me. Or maybe The Dark Knight. It's probably some Marvel movie I'm thinking. But now probably Life and you talking about a desert island?
Yep, deserted island.
Deserted island, I mean. Yeah, Life would probably give me some hope of finally getting off this island one day.
I'll tell you something. If you our age range, just so you know, our analytics tell us our age range of people that listen to our shows 18 to 35,
Shout out to y'all.
male. Shout out to y'all. If y'all haven't seen Life, man, y'all got to watch that movie.
You're losing your mind.
It's crazy good.
Music wise, I don't know though, man, because I kind of go all over the place with music. I don't know. Oh, you know I'm a Drake guy, but I don't know if I would.
Not $500 worth of Drake. You almost got some tickets this week, by the way.
Who? No, I didn't. I went for the bottom tickets, man.
You almost finessed him.
Yeah, I sure did. I sure was trying to finesse my guys them tickets, man. But yeah, I don't know. Music-wise, I don't have an answer. I might put it in the comments. Matter of fact, you guys, put your album in the comments you would bring and your movie you would watch. Put that in the comments. Like and subscribe. Look at this influencer stuff.
Let's go, man.
Look at this influencer stuff just coming out naturally from the kid. But yeah, man, let these kids have their music. That's all I got for y'all today. Been a great show again. Thanks for Jarvis Greer. Thanks for the Memphis Redbirds. Send us some swag, send us some gear. Make sure you guys check out the full weekend they have in store. A lot of stuff going on over there. Also, our good friends from 901 Wrestling. Remember, their show is this Saturday at 7 o'clock. You might want to check that out. It's at Black Lodge. Doors open at 7 o'clock. Check them out. Yeah, man. Hope
we
you guys
have a quick announcement.
Go ahead.
There will be no Wednesday show next week.
No Wednesday show. We chilling.
We're chilling. It's
We
4th
chilling,
of July, baby. We're taking a break.
Happy Independence Day to white people. We were not included in the freedom that you guys gained on July 4th of whatever year that was. What was it, 1776?
1776.
Yeah, we were not included in that. Shout out to us for our own day that we've already got this out the way, man. We've already celebrated our being free-ish in this country, this great nation of ours. But no, man, all jokes aside. Happy Independence Day to everyone. We'll see you guys on next Friday here at the Anthony Sain Show. We will see you guys then, man. And until then, we out!
Thank you for listening to the Anthony Sain Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next week.